It was one of the wealthiest places on Earth until disaster struck. We aren't talking about a few burned buildings. We are talking about an entire civilization, a city so rich that its citizens literally ate off golden plates, while the rest of the world was still fighting with sticks and stones. But wealth doesn't protect you from the apocalypse. And in the year 79 AD, the ground beneath their feet turned into a ticking time bomb. Today, we're going to uncover exactly how this paradise turned into a nightmare, and why this destruction actually preserved the richest secrets of the ancient world forever. To understand the tragedy, you have to understand the insanity of the wealth we are talking about. This city was Pompeii, but forget everything you think you know about Pompeii as just a city with some ash. In 79 AD, Pompeii wasn't just a town. It was the Las Vegas and the Beverly Hills of the Roman Empire rolled into one. It sat on the Bay of Naples, the ultimate retirement destination for Rome's elite. We are talking about senators, generals, and spice merchants who had more money than they knew what to do with. We know this because of what archaeologists have found. One villa, the House of the Faun, took up an entire city block. It had its own private baths, its own gardens, and a mosaic floor made of tiny, millions of colored stones imported from Africa and Greece. These weren't just houses, they were power statements. Pompeii controlled the trade routes. If you wanted black pepper from India, frankincense from Arabia, or silk from China, you went through the merchants of Pompeii. The streets were paved with volcanic rock, so solid they still stand today. The walls were covered in vibrant frescoes that made the city look like a permanent art gallery. And the food? They had over 80 fast food joints in the city. But unlike our fast food, they served roasted dormice in honey, flamingo tongues, and seafood dragged straight from the Mediterranean that morning. For the average Roman peasant, life was brutal. But in Pompeii, life was a non-stop party. Gladiator games, massive theaters, and public bathhouses heated by underground furnaces. It was a city that literally had everything. Everything, that is, except the realization that they were living on top of a sleeping giant. And that giant, it was about to wake up. But here is the crazy part. They had warnings. 17 years before the big one, in 62 AD, Pompeii was rocked by a massive earthquake. And when I say massive, I mean buildings collapsed, walls cracked, and the whole city shook like a leaf in a hurricane. The residents of Pompeii did what any reasonable people would do. They dusted themselves off, blamed the gods, and started rebuilding. But they made a fatal error. They didn't realize that the earthquake wasn't the disaster, it was the warning. The earthquake was caused by the magma chamber beneath Mount Vesuvius shifting. The ground was literally flexing and breaking. Roman historians like Seneca wrote about it. They knew something was wrong with the mountain, but here is the mind-blowing part. They didn't have a word for volcano. The concept didn't exist. They thought Vesuvius was just a big, green, beautiful mountain, a place to grow grapes. The soil was so fertile because of the minerals in the ash from eruptions that happened thousands of years earlier, but they had forgotten that history. So they rebuilt. They made the city even more beautiful. They added bigger temples, more elaborate fountains. In the weeks leading up to the eruption, the wells started drying up. The water sources that had fed the city for centuries suddenly disappeared. Animals started acting strange. Birds flew away. Did they evacuate? No. They threw a party. They held a massive festival to honor the gods and ask for the water to return. They were literally dancing and celebrating while the pressure inside the mountain was building to the equivalent of 100,000 atomic bombs. They had no idea that in just a few days, they wouldn't just lose their homes, they would be erased from history itself. The date is August 24th, 79 AD. It's a warm summer afternoon. People are in the marketplaces, buying bread, arguing over prices. The kids are playing in the streets. Then at exactly 1 p.m., it happened. A colossal explosion tore the top off Mount Vesuvius. But this wasn't just an explosion. It was a supersonic blast of gas and rock that shot up into the stratosphere at hundreds of miles per hour. The sound was so loud that it was heard over 200 miles away. The sky didn't just turn dark, it turned black. The sun was blotted out by a cloud of ash and pumice that spread like an umbrella over the entire region. Then came the rain. But it wasn't rain, it was pumice. Tiny, sharp pieces of solidified lava started falling from the sky like hailstones from hell. At first, it was just a dusting. People were brushing it off their clothes, but within an hour, it was piling up inches thick. Roofs started collapsing under the weight. By 4 p.m., the ash was waist-high. People were trapped in their houses. We know exactly what they were thinking because we found their bodies, frozen in time. Some were clinging to their children. Others were trying to dig through the walls. They were panicking. They were screaming, but they were blind. The ash was so thick that you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Then the first surge hit. A pyroclastic surge is a volcanic avalanche. It's not lava. It's a deadly hurricane of superheated gas, ash, and rock, traveling at 400 miles per hour. It rolled down the mountain like a freight train made of fire. The temperature in that surge was over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And here is the terrifying part. When that heat hits a person, they don't burn to death in a fire. Their internal organs instantly boil. Their brain tissue vaporizes. The human body freezes in a posture of shock, curled up, clenching their fists, trying to protect their faces. It was instantaneous, painless perhaps, but absolute. The city was buried under 20 feet of volcanic material in just 24 hours. Pompeii, the jewel of the Roman Empire, was gone. It didn't just fall, it was deleted, and then silence. For 1,700 years, Pompeii just waited. It became a ghost town. Grass grew over the ash. Eventually, people built new cities on top of the ash, completely oblivious to the lost metropolis buried beneath their feet, until 1748. A group of workers digging a well stumbled upon some strange statues. They called in the archaeologists, and what they found, it shocked the world. Because Pompeii was buried so fast by soft ash, not heavy lava, the city was protected from the elements. The archaeologists started peeling back the layers of time like an onion. They found loaves of bread that still had the baker's stamp on them. They found eggs in the market that were still intact, 2,000 years old and still egg-shaped. They discovered a dog chained to a post, frozen in place. It was the ultimate symbol of loyalty, waiting for a master that would never return. But the real story is the wealth. Remember, this was a resort town. When the eruption hit, people didn't take their money with them because they thought they could run and come back. So all that wealth stayed underground. Hordes of gold coins were found tucked under floorboards, silver platters, massive bronze statues, and jewelry with rubies and emeralds that shine exactly as they did when they were crafted. But the most shocking find was the library. In one luxury villa, the Villa of the Papyri, archaeologists found over 1,800 papyrus scrolls. Pompeii wasn't just destroyed, it was preserved in a way that no other city in history has ever been. Now you might be asking, did anyone survive? Yes. We know that about 2,000 people died, but Pompeii had a population of around 15,000. That means 13,000 people escaped. But here is the interesting part. A lot of them didn't run immediately. The wealthy elite waited. They tried to save their treasure. They tried to pack their golden chariots. Some historians believe that the reason so much wealth was left behind is that they were too greedy. They spent so much time packing their silverware that they missed the window to escape. By the time they realized the danger, the streets were blocked with ash, and it was too late. Today, scientists look at Pompeii as a warning. Mount Vesuvius is still there. It's still active, and it's overdue. Over 600,000 people currently live in the red zone, the kill radius of a similar eruption. If Vesuvius erupts today with the same force, the death toll wouldn't be 2,000. It would be in the hundreds of thousands. We have all the technology in the world, satellites, seismic detectors, ground-penetrating radar, and we still can't stop the mountain. We can only run. So the next time you look at a mountain and see just a beautiful landscape, remember Pompeii. Because the ground beneath our feet, it's not as solid as we think. Rome rose and fell. Pompeii was wiped off the map. But its story survived, not in books, but in the ash. It's a chilling reminder that nature doesn't care about our money, our power, or our wealth. In the end, the only thing that lasts is the story. And the story of the richest city ever destroyed? Well, We are still telling it 2,000 years later. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history's greatest disasters, make sure to smash that like button. It helps the algorithm show this story to more people. And subscribe, because up next we're looking at the city that was swallowed by the sea. Trust me, you won't want to miss that. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.